I see LinkedIn posts daily citing articles proving that AI bubble is about to burst, or you cannot trust this technology, that it's making mistakes all the time. Yesterday I saw one parroting this article in the LA Times titled, "The air begins to leak out of the overinflated AI bubble." But here's the thing, these kinds of articles are there to instill fear in you, to mislead you even. If you're on the fence on AI, or you actually are taking these articles seriously, I want to show you how these articles and these posts are doing you a disservice, and also your competition is getting the better of you because you're not using AI, or if you choose not to use this technology. In this video, I want to show you why you can trust the results coming out of AI and how, and dispel this notion that it's just another technology, and also show you how you could enjoy parts of your work more if you actually get to use it. So I want to explain using the article I mentioned earlier. It's a column that writes, "The air begins to leak out of the overinflated AI bubble." So it's stating it as a fact. There's a bubble, so be wary. And it cites NVIDIA's drop in share price. Recently, the stock price went up. Now it's coming back down. The stock market is a good indicator of a lot of what's happening in the economy, but it isn't the only indicator, and he's using it already to cite why AI is a bubble. Yeah, businesses are going to lose out. Businesses are going to drop in value. Startups are going to disappear, just like they've always done with every technology. Businesses don't generally succeed in terms of statistics. I have highlighted parts of the article, so I want to go through it and explain how that connects with my statement where you shouldn't really worry. So he writes, "The most pressing questions in AI development, such as how to keep chatbots from making responses to questions they can't answer, hallucinating as developers call it, haven't been solved despite years of effort." It's quite misleading, again, simply because it's a technology that's kind of in its infancy. I mean, we've been using artificial intelligence for decades now. It's just now it's become more open source, more democratized, more like we all have now access to these models and use them and develop new tools with them and actually make them work for us. In the past, they were just part of the platforms that we were using. So Google Maps, Waze, all these devices that we're using, in the background is a lot of artificial intelligence, machine learning capabilities. It's kind of a statement. It's just setting you up to immediately think negatively. And he writes, indeed, some experts in the field report that bots are getting dumber with every iteration. So he puts here a reference to an article. And if you look at that article, it's all negative, written by a guy who's not really an expert. He follows technology, so he has knowledge about technology, absolutely. He's presenting it as experts in the field, and then he's using that as the reference. So he then writes, "On some tasks, GPT-4 chatbots' performance is worse than its predecessors." And the point is, a new tech has ups and downs as it gets developed. But the general trajectory of digital technology, it's established fact that we're on an exponential curve. And artificial intelligence is on that curve. One day, we're going to have general AI. One day, it's going to be super intelligent. When? We don't know. We don't know where we're going to be going. We don't, even the developers themselves don't really know where we're going to end up. We can predict. And the human has the capability of imagining things. We imagined the nuclear or the atom nuclear technology, and we created it. And now we've imagined, or over decades, we've imagined artificial intelligence, and we will get there in time. But in the journey, we're going to have these ups and downs. So there's going to be situations when you're going to say, why did that go wrong? And then we'll fix it. That statement is just redundant in a way. One CEO whose company uses AI to parse what executives promised investment analysts in earlier earnings calls told the Wall Street Journal that it was 60% right, 40% wrong. What's happening in this article, these kinds of articles, is they take negative aspects of other sources and he puts it in as fact. And he doesn't take the from those articles and use them to balance out his own arguments. So I represent a company, I work with a company called amoeba.ai. I spoke to the CEO of the company. We recorded on my channel a podcast about how his AI platform, Amoeba's platform, sits on the management software of their clients, and it helps them manage their supply chain. It connects all the communication channels that they have, accesses all the data that they have only within the data of that company related to what they constrain it to. And yes, they're APIing to all other big language models, but they are constraining it in such a way that their customers, their clients, are saying that we are spending 25% less on these laborious, tedious tasks that we used to do, and now we've been released from it. 25% reduction in time used on repetitive, labor-intensive tasks that can now release their employees to actually do the work of managing a supply chain. So, and when I asked him in the podcast, if you watch the podcast, I asked him, how accurate is your platform? Is the AI? And he says, well, because we're constraining it to a very specific data, it's not able to go out into ChatGPT or Llama or whatever they're using and hallucinate and come up with stuff. It's actually constrained, and therefore the results are only the same kind of data coming back. So it's able to respond to issues along the supply chain. If there's delays in supply, it's able to pick up on that in real time and flag it for you. And you're able to communicate, generate me a report on something that's only constrained within the data, that's within the communications channel. And he says, he's getting the 95% accuracy. So it's not 60% right, 40% wrong. Here's a real business using AI, getting real results and successful results. And he's able to go out and get clients and build a revenue company on the back of this technology. So then he writes, this journalist, and I'm not naming this journalist because I don't want to bash his name. It's not my job to go after anybody. He's a journalist with decades of experience, so he knows his stuff. He's an experienced journalist, so he's good at his work. I went through some of his other articles. He's actually well respected and deservedly so. But this article is very negative and very misleading. So he writes, business users have reason to be concerned about using AI bots without human oversight. I mean, isn't that obvious? The AI or generative AI right now acts like our assistant, meaning it has a boss, it has a manager, just like any assistant. And it's our jobs to oversee that, to check on the information that we have from the AI. Again, the company I was talking about, Amoeba, they give you the ability to check the results coming out of the AI. So if the AI says, look, I recommend that you buy more copper, you can ask it, why are you saying this? Why are you suddenly flagging this for me? Where did you get this information from? And it'll show you, look at these prices and how the trajectory and the trend of copper prices are about to go up. This PDF shows that your supplier is about to raise prices on this material. So you, as the human, have the responsibility to check and do your job and do your due diligence just like you do in a normal day without AI. It's just a silly statement. It's redundant, again. Even on relatively straightforward tasks such as spitting out a routine legal filing or answering simple customer service inquiries, AI has failed sometimes spectacularly. Again, taking only a negative aspect, so you'll take a negative story and present it as proof that this technology doesn't work. Well, let me counter that. If you go into my YouTube channel, one of my episodes, my podcasts, I speak to Thomas Dixon, who's a sales pro, the titled AI Tools and Methods That Will Boost Your Sales from a Pro. In it, he shows actually that the opposite. He's able to get good results from the AI. And watch the video, or if you actually look at the transcript. So what I did is I loaded the transcript just to show you that I can work with ChatGPT and be accurate and be confident that it's going to give me results and information that I need. So I'm doing it I did it kind of in real time here. I can upload the transcript on my video into ChatGPT and ask it, can you quote where the man, I didn't even give it a name, talking about sales mentions results he got from using AI? And he discusses results that they're having. Now, this is a new company has a tech pack of all sorts of platforms. They're connecting AI bots and AI technologies to generate market studies, sales pitches, and just help their clients develop a sales strategy, build a marketing strategy, and help generate new revenue and build their sales. And they're doing well. They're succeeding. They're growing. Talking about millions of dollars of revenue and new sales coming in. So ChatGPT was able to immediately pick up on his name, Thomas Dixon. He discussed the results and experience, and he gave me a very brief summary of the article, of the transcript. So I tell him, no, give me numbers. Tell me what are the results that he actually got. He says 80 to 90% of our email outreach when prospecting is now AI generated.
Yeah, 80 to 90% of email outreach is AI generated. So we do still tweak and improve, our lead gen work, but I think it's minimal human intervention now. And even the intervention that we take, look at with our outreach is still informed by AI, to be perfectly honest. We ask tools like Gong to actually generate the replies for us. The call takes place, we type into Gong AI and say, make a response for this.
In addition, their business development functions email open rates went from 16% to 24%, and reply rates doubled from 1.5% to 3%, leading to more meetings, more pipeline, and more revenue. So this idea, AI failed spectacularly on this customer service inquiries. There's no difference between customer service really and sales pitches and customer outreach. For every negative statement like this, I can probably bring quite a few positives of real companies like us, like Amoeba, who are showing positive results, accuracy, high accuracy, increased sales, increased revenues, increased sales funnels and pipelines. And so business owners should take note of this and take all these statements with a pinch of salt. Then he goes on to list more negative stories. I won't go read over this, but it's just another list of things gone wrong with AI. And he also writes, that's because bots are developed by being fed unimaginably large quantities of published works, internet posts, and other mostly generic written material. Developers then apply algorithms that allow the bots to emit responses that resemble human language, but are based on the probabilities that a given word should follow another. Kind of true. One reason that the bot action is often dismissed as autocomplete on steroids, kind of a misleading statement there again. These systems, however, aren't intelligent in any sense of the term. They produce simulacrums of cogent thought. Again, the fact that he uses that kind of language, why can't you just write they produce simulations of human thought? And that is the truth of his statement. I agree with that green highlighted statement. Generative AI, as we know it, is a simulation of how we think, a simulation of how we visualize imagery. It's a simulation of how we write. It's just simulating intelligence. Generative AI is not intelligent, so it's artificial. It's a prediction tool of data that follows data. Just like with any digital technology, you're dealing in the digital world with digital data, and it predicts that data, how it follows each other. So in order to build a sentence, it's made up of words, but then it's also made up of letters. And the digital or the algorithm understands all that in just ones and zeros. So it's able to predict based on patterns that we've fed it over decades. And it's learned those patterns. And it has access to all that data at any point in time. So yes, it's not intelligent. Yes, it's simulating. Okay, and what's the point of this paragraph? It's to lead you to read, but often underperform when asked to perform tasks requiring human level of discernment, for example, in medical diagnosis and treatment. Disagree. In the medical profession, I don't have enough information. I could research that. I'm pretty sure there's some use cases there that are very positive, But I want to show you how another company I'm working with, where they're generating AI imagery for fashion brands to do their marketing and e-commerce, retail imagery. And what they do is they take images of the brand's products, real products. So that's a photograph there on the left. They'll take a mood board. Usually fashion brands will develop a kind of feel for every collection that they design. So in this case, what's the mood of the image that you want to generate from this real product? And this image on the right here is an AI image. Now for a small brand, fashion brand, or a medium-sized fashion brand, this kind of image would cost quite a lot of money to generate, especially when you have to do it for your whole e-commerce site. You want to create posters, you want to have nice banner images, and you want to replace that. You want to update that every few months, every season. That costs a lot of money. And some of these small brands and medium brands haven't got these budgets. And here's a company able to accurately reproduce a real product and make it look good in the same style and mood and branding as the brand, their clients. And he cites here in the article, it's often underperforming tasks that requiring human levels of discernment. Well, a professional photographer, has exceptional discernment about imagery and how to compose an image. I have deep respect for professional photographers. Unfortunately for them, they have competition now. But you cannot say that image isn't discernible. Like the AI is discerned very clearly how this product looks, how this image feels, and given an image based on a prompt and based on composition that the brand wanted. They placed that character with that look, with that kind of feel, exactly where they wanted it on the image. And he goes on to continue to write things like, one persistent concern about AI is its potential for misuse or nefarious ends, such as making it easier to shut down an electrical grid, melt down the financial system, or produce deep fakes to deceive consumers or voters. And he writes, it's been endorsed by some AI developers, but condemned by others who assert that its constraints will drive AI developers out of California. This is a topic worth talking about. He kind of shifts it a bit negative, but I kind of agree with him on this. Because if there's a company that's developing AI tools or AI technology that is refusing or doesn't want to be, or fighting against regulations, I'm really hopeful that that company will no longer be in the game very soon. Because they're hiding something. I don't trust them. Clearly, we need the governments to step up. But we cannot leave it just to the politicians because, let's face it, we can't really trust they don't have the knowledge and they think about how to win the next election. So we do need the big developers, of course, in the conversation. We do need the business community, meaning small and medium-sized businesses, in the conversation. And we need the developers, the smaller developers as well. So we need the legal experts. So there's a lot of stakeholders, and they need to get together to build common sense regulations to move us forward. This technology is moving forward whether we like it or not. So we do need to protect our IP, protect our privacies. But this idea of misuse, there are bad players before AI. Bad players who misuse the internet, bad players who misuse the internet, the mobile phone, bad players that misuse emails. Many humans, unfortunately, are bad players. It's got nothing to do with the technology or AI. So what's the point of this statement? And this is in a business column. So talk about it. We need to do common sense regulations. Explain it. Don't just present it as a negative thing. He all goes on to write down here, a survey by Boston Consulting Group found last year, for instance, that for business problem solving, using the most advanced version of OpenAI's chatbot resulted in performance that was 23% lower than that of the control group. Now, if you go into that article, the title is How People Can Create and Destroy Value with Generative AI. So already here's an article that is balanced just in the article. How it can create and how it can destroy. So you've got both sides. And if you look at it, if you read it, you'll even find like a graph like this demonstrating that in the creative product innovation, ChatGPT did very well. And business problem solving, it was worse. I mean, this seems like a balanced experiment that they did. But in the real world, in the real business world, your competitors are actually using AI and seeing good results, increases in efficiencies, reductions in time of working on tasks that they wish their employees weren't working on. And articles like this present it only on the negative light. And I recommend really thinking clearly about whether or not these articles are true. He'll then go into the macro level of saying, will these big companies investing huge amounts of money, billions and billions of dollars, will they see returns for years, if ever? Of course they will. And then he'll ask, so will this large spend ever pay off? Yes, it will. If you're not in the game, you're out of the game. When the internet started, we had companies and people saying, this is just a gimmick, or it's not as big as people say. And I remember working in the start of the internet on a platform called Netscape. Sending that first email out when I was studying computer animation, and I sent it to my friends in England, and I showed them this new model, 3D model I made for my short film that I was making. And they responded after a day with an email giving me feedback and telling me off for poor modeling skills and joking with me. I just thought then, isn't this amazing? I'm able to share what I'm up to across the world. But on top of that, I was having also issues. The amount of bugs that we had in those days, in the beginning, waiting for emails until they upload an image. My God, it took forever. And it would drive me nuts. So I'd go have a coffee and then I'd come back to see finally uploaded the image so I can actually send the email. The companies who didn't jump on this new technology of the internet, many of them disappeared. They fell apart. And the same is going to be true with this, right? So if Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, AMD, anybody of a certain scale, if you're not in the AI world, you've taken yourself out of the game. So will it ever pay off? Yes, because it's the new economy, it's the future. And he kind of ends it by saying hype remains the defining feature of discussions of the future of AI today. Most of it emanating from AI firms such as OpenAI and their corporate sponsors, including Microsoft and Google. So basically, he's just saying this is just hype generated by these massive corporations and discounting all the small businesses that have risen, all these medium-sized businesses that have incorporated AI into their processes and are doing well with them, generating new sales, new startups, developing new tools. Oh, if you're using PowerPoint to create your presentations, well, there's now a few good competitors to create better presentations using AI. Much more fun to use, saving you a lot of time. A company like Gamma, a platform like Gamma, is clearly better than PowerPoint using AI. And I'll maybe talk about that in another video. Or, for example, the company that does the image generation. The CEO went out and hired unemployed people in her country, which is in India, who had no access to technology, and she has trained them on how to create prompts, how to use this technology, and they're able to generate the kind of imagery that I showed you. So he's presenting that the business world doesn't really have much to gain here, but companies are employing people. Companies are building new tools. Companies are building new products, more efficient ways of doing things. So reducing hidden costs in many, many businesses. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of businesses, small and medium, who have the capability of being more efficient. Even if they're all 5% more efficient, it's going to pay for itself. So what kind of argument is he making? And what I'm coming to realize is AI has become a very political topic. And for some reason, you're either on this side or you're that side. So my advice is, if you're a business owner, if you're working as a manager in a company, do not be one of those people who discounts or who takes an article like this seriously and says, yeah, I'm not putting it in. My dog is snoring here. Be cautious. Do your due diligence. Do your research of what tech pack you actually need for your company. In some cases, AI will actually cause some extra complexity, and you might not want that. So look at what processes you are doing, what takes time, do the research, and figure out what AI tools you actually need. If it's hard for you, you don't know where to point, what directions to go in, you can reach out to me, for example, and ask me in the comment section questions, or reach out to my LinkedIn profile, which is in the description of this video, and reach out and ask me. And if I can help, I will, because that's what I do. I advise companies. I can advise them on business development, on marketing strategies, on sales strategies, and now how to utilize AI in their business. And so take these kind of articles with a big pinch of salt. And if you like the video, hit the like button, and do reach out to me. And also subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more commentary, more how-to tools, everything I like how AI can help your business or your work. Do subscribe. It helps my channel grow, please. And thanks for listening in, and see you next time.